Mr. Trump has now aligned himself with Russian President Vladimir Putin, dropping his demand for a ceasefire and backing a comprehensive agreement to end the war instead. Hours after meeting with Putin in Alaska, Mr. Trump announced his sudden reversal on Truth Social. It was determined by all that the best way to end the horrific war between Russia and Ukraine is to go directly to a peace agreement, which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire agreement. Earlier, the president had told Fox News' Sean Hannity that the responsibility is now on others.
Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done. And I would also say the European nations, they have to get involved a little bit.
And now for analysis of all of this, Andrea Kendall Taylor. She's a former senior intelligence officer. She's now a senior fellow at the Center for New American Security. Andrea, in addition to sort of flip-flopping, you're changing his position on the ceasefire, there are now reports that he's told European leaders that he now supports Russia's demand for territory for peace. Where does this leave the peace effort?
Well, I think this was the big concern going into the Alaska meeting, that President Trump would, in fact, come around to Putin's point of view and join on to his demands, and then force that deal on Ukraine and the Europeans. And then if they reject a deal that's unjust and unfair to Ukraine, will turn around and reassign blame to Ukraine. You know, I think we're perhaps even in a worse position than we were going in, because I'm exceptionally concerned that now, after months of suggesting he would ramp up pressure on Russia, that Trump is once again reversing course and is going to apply that pressure now on Ukraine.
Going into this summit, President Trump really raised the expectations for a ceasefire, talked about how it's really what he wanted to come out of the meeting with. And then the day after, he says the ceasefire is out the window. What do you think happened in that meeting?
Well, I think, first, President Trump sat down with Putin and was able to hear from him Putin's version of the war, his version of what's happening on the battlefield. And he's sympathetic to Putin. He obviously has an inclination to want to agree with Putin and maintain that close personal relationship. President Trump continues to have this vision of Russia as a great power, perhaps dating back to the 80s with the USSR, and of course, Sergei Lavrov with the throwback with the Soviet Union sweatshirt, reminding Trump that Russia is in fact a great power. So I suspect, he went into that meeting with Putin and recognized yet again that Putin is not willing to back down on his demands. And so he now, I think, views Zelensky as the weaker party. And I think one final point that is also worth highlighting is President Trump does not have a solid grasp of the facts and the issues at hand. President Putin, in contrast, knows these details in and out. He's a steely-eyed, detail-oriented dictator. If they're in a discussion and a negotiation, it's not a level playing field. I don't see how Trump can do a good deal when he doesn't have a solid grasp of the facts.